Hello, lifters and listeners. Welcome back to the Lift Her Up podcast. I am your host, Latrice. Listen, if it is your first time listening or watching, then welcome. And again, if you have been watching or listening for a while, then welcome back again. How are y'all doing? How are y'all doing? How's this new year treating you? Now we are well over a month into 2026. Now, I want to know, how are you feeling? How is this new year treating you? Have you kept and held on to your goals and your New Year's resolutions? Like, what's going on? Even though I don't really believe in those myself, but like I know a lot of y'all were probably fasting. Tell me, what downloads has the Lord been giving you? Do you have a word for this year? What's going on? What is going on? How has your week been? I can say for y'all, as I'm recording this, it's been a week, okay? It's been an emotional week for sure, but I have been kept by the Lord and I'm grateful for that. But I would love to know how you guys are doing. I'm glad to be here with you once again. Listen, before we get into today's episode, I do want to just give a little community announcement. So, I created this 5-day devotional, and it is titled When God Feels Far. Yes, and it is all about getting closer and more intimate with God. So, if you are somebody who is dealing with any spiritual dryness, any numbness spiritually, apathy, or just feeling like your intimate time with God has dwindled or it's decreased, or you feel a little stagnant in your walk, I created this for you. Okay, I truly believe that it is going to reset your relationship with God. It's going to put you on that trajectory that you need to be on. All right, so the link is in the description and in the show notes. When God feels far, you are going to want that, I promise. So let's get into today's episode. Um, I am so excited to even release this. I'm going to give you guys a little backstory before we get into it. But while I was on this break, I had a lot of time to reflect and to think and to pray and to ask the Lord what He wanted me to get into, what He wanted me to share, different topics or series that He wanted me to discuss when I returned. And during that time, I was thinking a lot about you, the audience, the viewer, the community, and it's because I don't see you guys as numbers on a screen. I know that you are people, you are a person like myself. You have layers to you, you have different faults and flaws and all the things. And I truly wanted to understand who you are as a people and why God sent y'all to me and why we connect so much and why this community has grown to be what it is, because those are the things that have built the foundation of our community, and it helps us to stay and stand strong. And as I was thinking and reflecting, I thought about the fact that when you come to a platform or when you join a community, you oftentimes have overlapping characteristics of the person that you're watching. So I know a lot of things that I deal with, you guys deal with too, right? So on and so forth. That is not happenstance, it's not coincidence. It is definitely God ordained. This I know. We go through things so then we can give other people keys so that they can also find their freedom and their happiness and everything. But I was thinking about that and how we all have these overlapping characteristics and certain qualities that are the same. And God then highlighted the strong friend to me. Okay, so stay with me. Stay with me. I developed this series, and it actually started with the idea of the strong friend. Yes, I have a feeling, I just have a feeling that a lot of you in this community are the strong friend. And I get it because I am her. That is me. The strong friend is me. I can definitely relate to being one. So the Lord gave me this idea to start talking about different archetypes, to create these archetypes, and also to give episodes and more clarity on these archetypes, which I'm calling friendship archetypes. So different things that I've experienced, different traits that I've experienced from others and that I've seen in myself, right? Just to show how certain traits, characteristics of who we are, how they show up in our everyday relationships and definitely with God. So again, they're called friendship archetypes, but don't get it twisted. You can still exhibit these traits and these characteristics outside of friendships. It is everyday relationships, especially including God. And it shows us a lot about our strengths, about our weaknesses, about the areas that God wants to see us improved in, about our giftings and who He has called us to be. And a lot of times it can tell us a lot about our assignments and our callings too when we lean into it the right way. So I'm so excited to get into this friendship archetype series. So y'all buckle up because we have a few of them that we're going to get through over the next course of episodes. But today we're going to be tackling the first one that came to mind, the strong friend. All right. The strong friend. And I know you've seen the post. You've seen the memes, all the things. Check on your strong friends, all right? Check on your strong friends. And why do we say that? It's because the strong friends are often the base, right? They're often the glue that holds everything together. And a lot of times they go completely unnoticed. They are dismissed and they are carrying the weight and the burden of all those who are around them. So hence the strong friend. Again, I mainly identify with this archetype. And honestly, I've always prided myself being the strong friend. I can't lie. And the strong friend is someone who is seen as dependable. They're seen as loyal, steady. When there's a hard time, they are always rock steady. And again, I have personally always genuinely enjoyed being the one that people can run to and come to whenever they feel pressures of life, that they can feel safe leaning on me. That is something that I have in the past and even till now, like I pride myself of feeling that way. But it does also come with a caveat. Like there is a downside to being the strong friend, and we're going to get into all of that. For me personally, where it gets complicated is the fact that my perfectionism oftentimes thrives being the strong friend, right? Like it thrives in that role. And it's because this core belief is, well, if I'm not perfect, if I don't show up perfectly and strong enough, if people don't see me as strong, then that means that there's something wrong with me, or I don't have a purpose any longer. And I also trace this back to childhood. Like a lot of these root feelings and these root habits, it stem from childhood. Like a lot of these archetypes do, right? So with every behavior, with every archetype that I'll be discussing throughout this series, it is all going to start with the root. All of it starts with the root. And not all of our roots are the same, right? Again, this is not some blanket treatment that we are having with these archetypes. You can exhibit traits in multiple archetypes. I know I do. I know you probably will once I get through all of them. And not all of our stories are the same. So it's very important that you also take back whatever you hear and see to the Lord as well, because not all the traits might not be you, but just see if you can find yourself within the story, right? So for many of us, before we were labeled the strong friend, we were actually also the strong daughter. We were the strong granddaughter. We were the strong sister. We were the strong cousin, the strong niece, whatever your role is in your household. It all started from that place, and then it spilled over into other areas of our lives, right? So in our families, we were seen as the ones who were responsible. You were the one that was having the most chores in the house, or you were watching your siblings. If you were like maybe like an older sibling or a more responsible sibling, you were taking care of those who were around you. We were seen as the sensible ones. Like you have more wisdom, you have more sense, so it is up to you. You are looked to as the role model of your peers and those around you. So oftentimes we were categorized as being wise beyond our years, or like you feel like you've been around for multiple lifetimes. Like that would be a common saying, I think, for a lot of like Black households and everything like that. But I was told that a lot as a kid, like, you seem older than you actually are. You know, like, you give wisdom, you give more mature. And I got that constantly, constantly. But the thing is, we weren't placed in that roles because we wanted to be placed in them, right? These roles were given to us. We were put with these titles, and it's not like we could really do anything about it as children, but we were quietly and subtly placed in these positions in order to get some ease in our households. Maybe there was something that was going on, or illness, or maybe like abuse, whatever the thing is, just to keep the sanity of the house and just to provide some ease, a sense in our families. And again, it led to many of us carrying loads and burdens for our families way longer than we even remember. I know that is my story. So before we even knew it, we started to safeguard our communities and those who we were connected with and who were around us, just to be there and to be strong. That was all we knew. You handle the situation, you hold it together, people are looking to you, whatever the case may be. But whether we realize it or not, our family dynamics often color how we show up in every other relationship. And if we're used to carrying the bulk of the load in our families, then of course we'll instinctively do the same in our friendships and in our relationship with God. And that is how we see these patterns show up continuously. And it really sucks because the strong friends affirmation, this is a hard truth, but the strong friends affirmation comes from being needed. That is the hard truth. Our value and our acknowledgement came from being in the center, and it came from us holding everything together, being that glue, and being able to execute under a certain pressure. You know, like, I was studying for this, and it reminded me of the movie Encanto, if you've seen it, right? The sister Luisa, her power is her strength, right? Cue Surface Pressure from the soundtrack. But that is what it looks like in our family dynamic. So for many of us holding things together, it's actually not a gift. It's a trauma response. It truly is, because we don't have anything to hold together. We were shown that we have no purpose. And if nobody needs us, then we believe that we have no purpose. So we start to function in that belief. So now let's talk about some cons and some weaknesses, again, that the strong friend has. The first thing is it can lead to being taken advantage of if you are not careful. Let's talk about this. So some people will start to seek you out because you have that strength, because they need that strong boost out of you. They know that if they connect with you, you'll give them the boost that they need so that they can go on in their journey, but they have no real intention of giving you a reciprocal friendship or a reciprocal relationship. And that's a problem. They want the strength that you have, but they're not actually interested in showing up for you. And that's painful. And I kind of want to sit with that for a moment, because I know a lot of us deal with that. It's like, oh, somebody used me for the strength I have. They got what they needed and then they left. That is a very common thing with us strong friends. And the second con or weakness, is that it can lead to burnout and mistakes under pressure from carrying other people's loads. Okay, and this I'm gonna park for a little bit, because I gotta give a biblical example for y'all. So let's take a moment to talk about Aaron. We're going to talk about Aaron, all right? And if you don't know, Aaron is a very well-known leader in the Bible, and I think that he is the perfect example of what the strong friend is, the characteristics of a strong friend. Outside of Jesus, of course. We know Jesus is the perfect friend. Amen. But if you don't know, Aaron was a Levite, and he was the first high priest of Israel. He was the spokesperson and aide for his younger brother, Moses, right? And this is so interesting to me, because I was researching this and I'm like, oh, this is so good. Because sometimes our main characters, they have so much sway in the stories. They have so much power in the stories, and we love and we respect them, right? But The side characters, or the characters who aren't like the predominant lead, they can get brushed to the side. And this is why I thought Aaron was perfect to use as this example, because he was crucial to Moses' success in leading the Israelites out of Egypt, through the wilderness, to the promised land, right? So Moses was first in command, but Aaron was his right hand man, right? So throughout his whole journey, he was right there. He was helping him to talk to God, talk to the people, be in the middle, give instructions, all of that. Aaron gives strong friend energy, all right? And I'm going to show you how and why in the Bible. So in Exodus 17:8-13, we see that Aaron literally holds up Moses's arm so that the people could win the battle, right? So he did not fight on the front lines with Joshua and them. No, but he did support his leader so that the Israelites could succeed against the Amalekites. That's very important. He supported behind the scenes, and he carried that responsibility and that weight of leadership without having to fully be recognized, in this whole story. He showed up when his leader was weary. He showed up when others were weary, when his people were weary. And that is strength. That is truly strength. Now let's talk about the mistakes under pressure, because that's the point that we're on. Did Aaron exemplify strength? Absolutely. He often did. He was very obedient. He, just like all of us, are human, though. There were some mistakes that he made. He did struggle with leadership under pressure later on. In Exodus 32, while Moses is communing with God and receiving the commandments on the mountain, right? Aaron and Hur are placed in charge of the Israelites. And these were a grumbling people, a complaining people, an impatient people. And they requested out of Aaron for him to make them an idol. And unfortunately, Aaron gave in. Unfortunately, he complied with their request, showing that strength without support often leads to compromise. Ooh, that's good. Strength without support leads to compromise. And it made me think, after all Aaron saw God do, because let's not forget, again, he was the right hand of Moses. So pretty much everything that Moses saw, Aaron saw too. He saw the way that the Lord spoke and covered and provided for them. So after everything that he saw God do, he still compromised in his faith. And that makes me question in that moment, what was holding up his faith? What was holding up his strength? What was holding up his strength? Because obviously it wasn't faith at that time. It's giving doubt and it's giving self-preservation, because them people was angry, right? And this is the strong friend leaning into that people pleasing. What are people going to think of me if I'm not strong? And we confuse what strength is, right? Because strength should be coming from the Lord. The Lord gives you strength, and he will give you faith that, no, I'm not going to allow you to turn these people towards idols. I'm not. But that's a little bit about Aaron that I really wanted to dig into. But the last weakness that I want to talk about that I often see in the strong friend is that struggle with vulnerability and with hiding our own struggles, the things that we don't want to share with other people. And I get that completely. I understand all these struggles. Actually, these are things that I often have to work on myself, in my heart, work on softening my heart and opening up to people, being vocal, being honest about my needs and how I'm feeling. And honestly, sometimes I hate it. I told y'all this week it was an emotional week, and that was partially why. I'm actively working on this to this day, though, in all of my relationships, especially those who are closest to me, because for a very long time, I didn't think that my needs mattered. I did not even care to vocalize them. I literally built my life around what other people were needing and around meeting the needs of other people while I was neglecting and rejecting my own. And in a sense, that made me very shallow in a lot of my relationships. I was wanting friendships, but I refused to go deeper because I would be there for someone in their time of need, but I never exposed what the need I had was, not giving that person an actual chance to be there for me, because I never thought that someone would actually desire to be there for me. I didn't think that they would even be interested to carry any part of how I was feeling or what I was going through. And I had this mantra in my mind of like, I don't need to be vulnerable. I'm the strong friend. People come to me for strength. I don't need to come to others for strength. I'm supposed to have it all together. But oh boy, did the Lord show me. Did he show me? And I know that's the case for many of you out there as well. And I know this is a lot of information too. I know it can be difficult to change. And this is not a call to change overnight, because that it can happen. But when you've lived so long in certain habits and patterns, like it's very normal for you to have a difficulty shedding these archetypes, or the negative things about the archetypes, I should say. But with all of them, there's always a redemption arc, because that is the Lord's story, right? Like we have Jesus because he wants to redeem us in the same way that he has redeemed every other trait. The strong friend is redeemed too. There's redemption for us. There is hope. There's hope for the strong friend, because when you're the strong friend, it means that you are very gifted at helping other people. You have a knack for support. You are a supportive character. All right, it's like what you need, I'll make sure it's done. I'll make sure I'm there. I'm the friend that shows up. That is me. You have a heart for showing up for people, and that is a beautiful thing. There's no shame in that whatsoever. So whether you were raised like that or it's just naturally innate in you, that is a beautiful thing, and that is a beautiful skill and a gift that you can use to execute the calling that God has on your life, and to steward what he's given you, and to excel in the kingdom of God. But oftentimes, the same way that we see other people, in the same way we want to help them, and we see the best in them and wanting to come in and rescue them in a sense, we also need to mirror that in ourselves. Because if we're so quick to help other people, but we don't do the same for ourselves, there's something missing there. You need help too. Like strong friends need help too, because how can you allow yourself to be there for someone else and help them in their struggles, but you don't even allow anyone to get close enough to help you in yours. And we need to really reframe how we see weakness, because the Lord tells us that his strength is made perfect in our weakness, right? 2 Corinthians 12:9. We have to remember that. And it can be very easy when you've been strong for so long. It can be hard to share your weaknesses with others and to let them in, but it's necessary, because this is self-care, but it's also stewardship, right? Because strong friends need help too. And the Lord has given you a life. He's giving you a body and a mind and a soul and a spirit that he desires you to steward over. And you taking care of yourself, it's showing God that you understand that you need to steward and take care of what he's given you. God cares about how you treat you. He cares about what you choose to intake. He cares about how you choose to open up to people, your heart, your vulnerability. He does care about those things, because he has placed people around you in order for you to maneuver through life. So we're talking about self-care and taking care of ourselves and stewardship. What does that look like practically for the strong friend? The first thing is practicing vulnerability. I know. I'm working on it too, y'all. It's hard, but we need to get around safe people, y'all. Even if it's just a very small group of people, 1 to 2 folks, you don't need a whole jungle. You just need a couple of people, safe people that you can actually talk to, expose your heart to, that you can let your defenses down, because it is worth it. And it's actually using wisdom when you do that. So definitely practice being vulnerable. The second thing we need to do is learning how to schedule rest. This is not just one moment. Again, I'm learning this too. This is an ongoing thing. Rest has to be continuous. You have to factor in rest in your everyday life, in your day to day, week to week, moment by moment. You have to factor in those things. You have to allow the Lord to refuel you. You need to be refreshed. You need to be restored so that God can pour back into you. Then you can continue to be there for other people. And third, we need to learn how to identify our emotions and needs, right? How do we do that? We practice saying them out loud. Again, these are hard things for me too, y'all. These are hard things for me too. And this is very big for me because for a long time, I was very disconnected from my emotions. I was very disconnected from how I was feeling. I would say, well, I don't really know how I feel. Or I would just be going along with emotions, just dealing with things as they come. I don't really have time to process big feelings and big emotions. And again, that was a trauma response from being the strong friend, being the strong daughter, being the strong sister. And I was not often given the opportunity to acknowledge my own emotions, acknowledge my own feelings, and to color them myself and to actually process them. So that was a very big thing to me. So just practice saying out loud however you feel to the Lord. Lord, I'm angry. I'm disappointed. Also saying what you needed in a certain moment. Like, what did you need? Lord, I needed someone to step in and stand beside me while I was crying, or when that person hurt my feelings at work or at church or in ministry, whatever the case may be, when that friend betrayed me, this is what I needed in that moment. And I didn't get it. And that is making me feel insert feeling there, right? So this is also learning what you like and what you don't like. And this is really the beginning of learning how to rebuild your life in the way that you desire, in the way that God desires you to live your life. People pleasing, it has to go. Some people are not going to like the way you live. Some people are not going to like you saying no, or you needing to do things for yourself, or maybe even agree with the feelings that you have. And that's okay, but that does not mean the end of the world. So a lot of times we find a fault in ourselves as the strong friends, and we're like, nobody cares about us. Nobody wants to check in on us. But how are we supposed to have people check in on us when we're not even willing to be vulnerable with them? So this is practical things right here, guys. You have to learn how to vocalize your needs in the midst of it all, and being able to share those needs with other people. So again, God, you have to trust that God has placed people in your life that love you, that care about you, people that are going to be safe and that are going to keep you safe. You have to trust him enough to know that he has placed those people in your life so that you can feel safe around them, and that you can get strength from those around you, you know? So that is the strong friend in a nutshell, I think. And if you are a strong friend, and if you if you identify with any of that, I need you to report to the comments. And I do have some homework for you. Okay. So in the comments, I need you to ask yourself these three things. How do you wish people would celebrate you? What do you want them to know? And what would you need to hear right now? Right? Those are your three questions to your strong friends. Now, if you know a strong friend, please send this to them. Please send this to them, you guys. And I am so thankful for this series. I hope you have enjoyed this first part, this initial part. Strong Friends Unite. We're in this together. We're going to get into so many other archetypes. And yes, it's going to be a time. So until next time, you guys, remember to stay encouraged. Bye.